Welcome, everyone, to our December masterclass. I'm so excited to be introducing my friend. I like to call her Carrie, but it's Caroline Marshall Foster of the UK. Sometimes I do Carolyn, sometimes Caroline. So I'm just going to go with Carrie. And I'm just so thrilled to be introducing her to our audience. Thank you for all of those who are tuning in live. I hope you bring lots of questions for her because we'll get to that in a bit. But I'm so absolutely thrilled that you said yes to coming on as our guest for December. So, Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
And
thank
you
you for inviting me. I was absolutely chuffed when you sent through the email. I thought, oh, exciting.
I love it. Well, I was very December's so busy, right? And we all have so much going on. And our florists, of course, are busy doing installations and so forth. That's halfway through the month. So hopefully, if they are not tuning in live, they definitely pick this up because I know we're going to talk about some really great initiatives that you've started and also dive into the Good Florist Guide. Um, we met, I guess, almost 2.5 years ago when I came
Gosh, yeah.
over for a British Floral Association, my very first event, and I thought, who is this savvy, sassy woman who I just need to know more. And then since we met, I've met you again at the Manchester World Cup of Flowers. Saw you get in the BFA, and then this past September or August, you were in the States. So welcome, Carrie. How
Thank
are you
you. As I
doing?
say, thank you so much for inviting me. I feel very honoured and privileged to be part of this because you have been very kind about me, but I'm going to be equally kind about you because I've watched you and your enthusiasm and determination is admirable. I'm just absolutely delighted to be here. The start of much more connection between us, I think.
Yeah, well, I love having friends all around the globe to share, and I think this floral world gives all of us that opportunity to connect with so many people, and it really was a dream come true to be able to travel over to London and surrounding areas of the UK because it always is kind of like a bucket list, but now I feel like it's our second home, and we do love going back and just checking it out and meeting more people. So the fact that the business has taken us there is like, what more can you ask for? But I always love to see familiar friends, right? And I feel like it's nice to be able to go somewhere and say, "Hey, can I borrow your scissors or shears and a couple vases and some of your flowers?" Because she helped me out at the last show with some products, so I
Well,
appreciate it.
hey, we had lots, and I think that is the whole thing about flowers, that you are sharing love every step of the way. And if you can't share flowers, it's a sad day. And you gave the scissors back. Now
I
that
did.
was very important because
I know. I wasn't going to take them. I was like, "No, I don't wanna be on her." I know you have a guide of all the best florists, so I didn't wanna get on your naughty list for not holding up my end of the bargain on that exchange, right? So you created something in the 90s called the Good Florist Guide,
I
and
did.
yeah, would you mind telling our audience about it and how you came up with this idea?
Okay. It was 1999, and I guess I am a third generation florist, and I have seen flowers and floristry all my life. My mum was a florist, and I just was totally fed up of seeing my friends being let down. And I thought, the world and its friends sells flowers, but there is a great difference between a normal florist and a good florist. And I thought, oh, I think so. I started sharing, names and addresses, and because in those days, the internet was not really terribly.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think it was even invented.
absolutely.
So I would give a phone number. Um, and I just sort of started thinking, there has to be a way. And also because I do think that with and even back then, there were some really awful shops. There were dreadful shops. And I thought we need a kite mark of quality. There was the good pub guide, there was the good hotel guide, there was the Michelin stars, all that sort of thing. But there was nothing in the flower industry. And so I thought, right. let's start something. So I
Yeah,
came up with this concept of Good Florist Guide, and it is by accreditation. It is by either application or invitation only. You can't just, unlike any other, and this is, it applies around the world. There is absolutely nothing like it. And so people have to either apply or be invited to be part of Good Florist Guide, which doesn't mean it's elitist, because it's not. It's open to every type of florist, and every size of florist, but they have to fit a certain criteria. And so we launched it, and it will never be enormous. By definition, you can't have every single florist in the Good Florist Guide.
right.
But it is, I think, what I love about it so much is not just that we are giving florists a chance to have this, stylish, where is it? It's behind me there, that thing.
Almost there.
That
Yeah.
that look. How do weather people do
I
this?
don't know it. I
I'm
cannot
sort
figure it
of
out. It
pointing
comes in
around.
from the north. They just go
Yeah.
north to south.
Anyway, that logo behind me is what they get to display on their shop, their vans, their websites, everything. So it's an immediate, certainly in the UK, it's an immediate sort of sign. Oh, Good Florist Guide. They must be special, and they are special. And then, of course, we have all our community, the family get together via Zoom, via Facebook, via in real life meetings, and it's a support system as well. It's a way of business owners talking to fellow business owners and sharing the pain that only another florist can really understand.
Absolutely.
Um, and being able to connect and ask the questions that you can't ask in normal places. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it celebrates its 25th anniversary this year.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah, so even more exciting.
yeah. I love that
Would
too. You said that you're a third generation florist, and
Yeah.
in my studies, your mother started the oldest trade publication for florists, or
No, she didn't start it. A man called Mr. Alexander T. Price started it, but
okay.
my mum bought it. My mother trained with Constance Spry and actually worked for Constance. And then she opened shops, and then she started freelancing for the magazine, which had been established in 1949. And Mr. Price very sadly became very ill, and my ma bought the magazine. So in 1966, my family became publishers, which was a slightly bizarre
Yeah.
setup. Um, but that's how it started, and like you, it took her all over the world. Well, more Europe in those days. Um, and I wasn't going to join the magazine. I sort of
Of
thought,
course
oh
not.
my God, no, 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 I don't want to do that. But somehow she managed to persuade me that it would be a good idea. And here we are several decades later, and I'm still doing it. But I love it because the magazine, and Florist Magazine, is the linchpin of everything I do. It is the sort of window of my window into the world of flowers and floristry, and has allowed me to see the sector every step of the way, which is just absolutely thrilling to be able to go to a grower, wherever that grower may be, and then maybe a week later go into a florist shop and see the product being sold,
Yeah.
knowing that I saw it being picked. I
Yeah.
think that is just so awesome, so awesome. But Florist Magazine is the absolute sort of pillar of, that's the sort of ground bit of it all. And then from that, we are able to do our other projects.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. I can't imagine what life would have been had I done it differently or become the nun that I originally thought I might be.
Well, I have to mention you are dressed, in black, but it's evening time over there too, so I forgot when I scheduled this, I was like, "Oh, they're 5 hours different than here, of course," and so thank you for joining me. You should have a cocktail or a glass of wine with you though, Carrie, so
I'm terribly British. I have a cup of tea.
Oh, better yet, right? Well, I have a couple points to make on what you were mentioning. The first is, um, because you've got to travel the world and your mother too, you've met so many extraordinary people all over the place. And I have to say, we have a lot of mutual friends. So it's so nice to see you in good company with people that I admire in the industry too. One of them being Lottie, the other is Willie
Absolutely.
Armelini. And I was like, "How do you know Willie?" Because I just saw you 2 hitting it off, and I thought he is one of my favorite people in the industry, so it's nice to see that the people I admire and like also get along, right?
I am very blessed with the people that I have met over the years. I think there are some. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I like everybody. I don't think anybody can like everybody, but
That's
do but I find people fascinating. I hate it when people say, I go up, bumble up to them at an event and I say, hi, who are you? Who are you? Because I don't know
yeah,
who they are. Oh,
I like
I'm just a florist. I hate that. I
yeah,
hate it. Nobody is just a florist. Uh,
absolutely.
because, that is not the most important because florists need the growers and growers need the florists. But to say you're just a florist, no, absolutely not. Everybody's got something interesting to say or has done something interesting. And my job as a journalist is to sort of wheedle that out.
Yeah. Well, and I love that too, is what my second point was as a journalist, you aren't afraid to say it like you think it, and I appreciate that so much. And I have, almost in a fit of tears reading some of the things that you write because it gets straight to the point and says what I think a lot of people are afraid to say sometimes when it comes to like using foam or doing,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, that was an
don't
article
get
I
me
read.
started.
Yeah,
Um,
but I was just like that because I feel like amazing things were needed to be said there in a space where people were tiptoeing and feeling bad about the way that they were operating their business or would be shamed. That's what it was. You can't
yeah,
shame foamers.
don't
Like,
yeah, don't well, it's like fat shaming.
yeah.
You wouldn't fat shame somebody, so how dare you foam shame them? Because for all we know, so you have climatic changes worse than we do, but a wedding in the south in
Mm,
blazing sunshine, you know sometimes it can't just last in water. Bless
mm.
the poor bride, she'd walk down the aisle and just see droop. Well, she
Yeah,
doesn't want to see droop in any way, shape, or form.
yeah,
Um, and I do think that would I like the world to be plastics free? Yes,
absolutely.
obviously
Yeah.
everybody would. But I think one has to also be both realistic commercially and also be kind. And I have actually, since I started being a bit of a now, don't you say those sort of things, I have noticed even the most um, evangelical floral warriors have become somewhat gentler in
Okay.
their approach. And I noticed one who I will not name, but very high profile, and was by their own admission, because I'm not even going to say what sex they are, by their own admission was evangelical. And I now read with interest when their hashtags used to be no foam is now as sustainable as possible.
Yeah,
Mainly because I could tell that there were imported flowers in the design. I mean, come on.
yeah.
So
Well,
you have,
it's the technology that's going into sustaining these flowers is something we need to lean into because you want people's flowers to last, right? And if they're
yeah,
not lasting, that's also just bad advertising too for the whole industry of sorts of people would purchase less flowers if they're not going to live as long. So I think there's a happy marriage, but I did
yeah,
appreciate you sticking your neck out there a little bit because I feel like a lot of us were like, "Well, I'm not jumping into that, school
I, d-
fight because
I
that's not I'm just gonna stay in the middle," and, it's a
no, I did, and I've actually been quite gentle in 2024. Yeah, we are 24,
oh,
aren't
yeah,
we?
we're not to
We're
2025 yet. It's right
we're
there.
still 24. I'm sorry, I've just started opening up my 2025 folders, and it's sort of like, oh no, we're not quite there yet. I've been quite gentle in 2024. I have some fairly hefty pieces that I'm going to be bringing out in 2025 because it's things like trends.
Yeah,
Trends. Currently, I have 5 stories on what the hot trend is going to be for 2025. And I
okay.
look at these and I think none of them are the same.
Mm,
There is no synergy on any of these trends. Uh,
okay.
so we go from coffee, courtesy of Pantone,
Yeah,
to
okay.
amethysts, courtesy of somebody else. And
Mm.
you're sort of thinking, well, how many trends can the industry have? And does anybody actually take any notice?
Yeah. I it's so hard to say, but I think it's we need that stimulation as artists and creatives to like think just go somewhere that we were not intending to go somewhere for a while just to keep us all something new and hot to sell, right? So I feel like a
It's
trend
yeah, I mean, and you can make content of it, and let's face it, the way social media
yeah.
consumes stories, you've got to find something every other day that you can share. But I do like the Pantene one. I do,
Yeah.
I, I do like that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get bored of it halfway. By the time fall gets here though, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, give me something else." So
But then, yeah, but then you can go to the amethyst and turquoise collection,
and
or
that's exactly where I'll be. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no,
As you can
I
see,
like.
I like the purple. So let's talk about why you came to the States because you made the flight across the pond, all 8 or 9 hours of them, and I saw you immediately. I knew it was you as soon as I walked up behind you and I saw you were talking to Lottie. But you have created this new initiative, and I had heard about it because I you were talking about it at the BFA,
Mhm.
but I was so thrilled to see that you were bringing it to the States because I think it's something we could all get around. So, would you mind
Well,
sharing a little bit of what brought you
I
here
was
and
going to say,
how
having
was your
some, I mean, of course, I did announce my retirement in 2017. That obviously hasn't happened. Um,
no.
so I came back. It was actually this time. Oh, blimey, this time a couple of years ago. Um, and one of my Good Florist Guide members, Karen Lindsay, had sort of said, we need a National Florist Day. We need, well, she didn't call it National Florist Day. She just said, we need to celebrate ourselves. And we were having this council meeting, and I said, yes. Karen, you can organise this. Yes. So I didn't really think much more about it. And then, and we devised a website, we did all that stuff, and we sort of vaguely put it out there. Didn't get much take up. And then in November 2023, I was on the plane having been at the flower show in Holland. I'd just been a month before in Colombia for Proflora. In fact, I'd spent about 6 months on the road, and I had just seen everything that was wonderful about this industry. And I came back in November 24 and thought, blow it. We are going to do this. We are going to have a National Florist Day. We are going to celebrate everything that is wonderful about the flower industry, the florists, the flowers that we work with, the reasons why we work with them. And we're going to create something that will give people the chance to show off about themselves in a way that is not selling, but is telling.
Yeah.
And by telling, you actually sell. It's, tell a story, and chances are you will sell yourself or the product that you're talking about. So so that was sort of November. And by January, I was blessed to have 3 founding supporters, and we went live. And so that was January 24. And I went into National Florist Day with a sort of three objectives: that I would create something that florists and suppliers could use to talk about the industry and work together, and that it was to create awareness, it was to create pride, and then automatically out of those would create sales. And I mean, bear in mind, behind this screen is actually a bedroom. I work from home these days. I've given up my office. And I mean, there's no bed in it. I'm not quite that devoted. I mean, it
Not
is a
lying in it right now.
no, actually behind it. No, I do have a fully functioning office at home. Um, but I and so we got to sort of, so we went live in February, and I had this vision that maybe we would get 300 florists to sign up, and within 6 weeks we had over a
Wow.
thousand UK florists had come on board, had signed up, had filled out the forms, and it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. People got engaged, infused. We created this whole toolkit. We had badges, we had bunting, we had assets, we had webinars, we did we gave them 14 different projects that they could work on, what both within their businesses or online, because not everybody has a shop. Um, and so we created this whole kit and caboodle, and we sent it out, and we got to, so it was June 7th in the UK,
Okay.
and we did the wash up report, our proof of concept, and I just thought this could work in the States. This could
Yeah.
work in the States. And I got on the phone to Kate at SAF. I said,
Jason? Yeah.
can I come? Can I come? Can I come to Miami, please?" So I booked my ticket and I booked my registration. And bless her, she asked me to pitch the idea to councils. And we got a resounding yes out of that. And then we progressed that a little bit more. And we had a board meeting, because the three founding UK people have now been joined by their US counterparts, and
I
that will grow. But just at the moment, we have to keep it quite tight. Um, but all being well, we go live with National Florist Day USA 2025, and that should go live. Well, the aim is 6th of January with registrations. You'll have to talk to Lottie about that one.
I would love that. Well, and I think, is it going to be that same June date?
No, we probably will look at a week later or 2 weeks later, so 14th or 21st. That's still to be decided. I mean, we will go June. June is a good time. From a supply side, and in terms of, yes, look, at the end of the day, we will never find a day that will work for everybody,
Yeah.
but
No.
we needed to find a month where there wasn't major, so we
Yeah.
needed to get over our peaks, because our Mother's Day is in March in the UK.
Okay.
So we needed to get over that. Yours is in May, so you needed to get over that. We didn't want to clash with conference season or too much.
So
I
much
think,
going on,
I
I'm
mean,
glad
yeah.
you didn't pick March. So that's
So,
all. Yeah.
I mean, I think so.
Everyone.
So we would like to see. I mean, that's the objective, and it
Yeah.
really is a case of. And at the same time, and I'm going to bring back in Good Florist Guide here. We've decided to open Good Florist Guide up to the US as well.
That's
Um,
amazing. I was going
yeah,
to ask. So that's so wonderful to hear. So people, how do they, I think you have an application process, obviously, for the Good Florist Guide.
on Good Florist Guide, you go to www.goodfloristguide.com, guide.com,
Yep.
and on the top right hand side there's a apply here button,
Okay.
and you fill in the form, you put in your pictures, you do the drop down to say where you're from, and then it goes to the accreditation panel, and they will then do the process, the due diligence, and you too could be the recipient of a certificate, which I don't have a sample of here, I'm afraid.
No, that's okay.
Um, you get a little badge, you get window decals, you get all sorts of loveliness.
Yeah, no,
Um,
well, that's fantastic. Can you tell any, like, success stories from the National Florist Day or some special moments or memories,
um,
from
I I think there were so many, so
yeah.
many. I remember Gina, who was working with me, and it was the day, it was June 7th, and we went up to Covent Garden Market and did a live feed from the market. Um, and we stopped off at McDonald's. We were so tired and so cold and so hungry. And McDonald's was the only place that we could grab a bite to eat. And Gina logged on to our feeds, and they literally were coming in,
Oh, yeah.
and she was just going. I mean, she just went, "I can't, I can't do this. I can't do this." And then we did another element, which was Faces of Floristry, and we did the announcements of the 100, and we did a 5 night live, so a 5 night
Oh,
series of lives.
and you
And
had, like, your top 100 florists
yeah,
or
and I had to announce them, and I was sort of sitting there. I had no idea who was coming out, and so we did, 20 a night for 5 nights, and we had over 50,000 people watch.
oh, that's wow. And I think it's so, like, important for people to really share with their own communities about the work they do, and that's what a great opportunity to, like, boast about, and, "Hey, National Florist Day, and this is how I got into the industry," or "What
Absolutely,
I
the
do, and how
the
hard I."
friendships,
Yeah,
and
mm,
the connections and the networking and the friendships that were formed out of it. That suddenly, within our dedicated Facebook group, that we probably never met each other. And as I said right at the beginning, florists are florists' best friends, because
yeah,
no one other than a florist or a fellow wholesaler or a fellow grower can possibly understand just what it's like, to sort of be sweating as to whether your flowers are going to open, or if they'll open too fast,
yeah,
or if that client will actually pay the bill, and if they don't, what is the consequence of that? The how do you market, the I mean, all the pain that
yeah,
goes into it's you know to consumers, we just play with flowers. Oh
yeah.
my lord. Oh, that one could just play with flowers, because
There's so
that
much
would be the
there.
fun bit.
Yeah, right? Well, and that's kind of, I think, the misconception, until you are, up to your elbows and different flowers and thorns in your fingers and,
Absolutely.
all the other things that come along with it,
Well,
but
you've been there, you've done it yourself.
yeah.
And it's jolly hard work. It's hard work. Smelly buckets. Oh, ugh.
Yeah, no, people have no idea. They only see the good parts, and then even though at all the events I set up, I never saw the perfection of it. I always saw like, "Oh, that one's out of place. I hope they don't notice," or, you stand back and just critique your work. So I think we're also the worst when it comes to our own designs too, and you just there's a sense of
Yeah.
like, "You didn't grow it or make it, but that's what you got, so that's just the way it's gonna have to be," right? So, and not
It's
every
yeah, and I think that the majority of customers are wonderful, and will appreciate. But I don't know how your economic climate is, or what the impact is going to be of your new administration. But we in the UK, we are facing some challenges: the cost of living crisis, it's all a bit blur. Um,
Well, it's definitely tough for florists, especially if you don't have a community to lean into or to know how to properly charge so that you're salvaging the whole industry. Because if you're letting things go at too low a margin, it's really not only hurting your bottom line, but also your competitor
Oh,
that's trying to get a fair dollar on everything. So I think it's great to have those communities where you can discuss. And we've been pulling averages of all of our customers. And so I do see a bit of a difference between our UK customers and our florist event wise, like from a dollar perspective. I feel like we sell more higher dollar things than maybe your market, just slightly, but it's definitely interesting to compare because maybe the importance of florals at an event is not as high as maybe our culture has mixed it into like you have to have more. So ways to turn that around too, or to make people want to have that is all part of it too.
absolutely. I mean, there is seemingly a bit of a switch on weddings, etc., to less is more,
Yeah.
and partly because people don't want to be seen to be looking profligate, um,
Mm.
partly budget constraints, but you know the minimalistic. Although I hate it, I loathe it when brides say, "Oh, I just want bud vases along the table. That won't cost very much." Excuse me, ma'am. Do you know what the labor is involved in doing bud passes?
Yeah, or how many of them we have to clean.
Yes.
Yes,
I
it's
mean,
just as
it's
much as that centerpiece there, so
absolutely. Give me a
there's
big centerpiece any day.
yeah, I think it comes into a lot, so I think just naturally getting out and sharing with people the love of flowers and how they create such good feelings around can just to raise that bar. But it's all of our jobs to do that, right? Is to,
I think, yes. I mean, if we don't promote I have a phrase I use, flowers are the only product that can say anything to anyone on any occasion. And there is not an event or reason that flowers can't say it. Say it with flowers is just literally so spot on. Um, and you couldn't possibly use chocolates or wine at a funeral. I mean, well, okay, you might eat them or something, but there is something incredibly important about having flowers at a funeral, and brides who say, "Oh, I don't want flowers," they won't last. Well, they'll last a lot longer than the food because they'll be pictured in every single photograph that you have taken. So yes, but we do all have a responsibility, and that was what National Florist Day was all about. It wasn't just about saying how wonderful the florist was or the shop was. It was about talking positively about the benefits of flowers, the feel good factor, the proven scientific benefits of flowers, and using all those hooks that and just bringing them all together so that people could engage. And when I look at the stats, 82% of our flower magicians, we call them flower magicians, 82% of our flower magicians achieved not only greater awareness, but a sense of pride and a reminder just what they were doing. Um, because I think it's very easy to get completely, you were saying earlier, you looked at events and thought, I look and say, well, that flower's not in the right place or whatever. I think florists, you're so busy doing, you forget what it is that you do for people, what it
yeah.
is you create, and the importance and the difference that it makes to people.
Yeah, something I really admire about the UK and the Republic of Ireland as well is all the young people that you have entering the industry, and I feel like that event um, that the British Floral Association hosts every year has so many students that are just so excited and to get involved in the industry, and I feel like you do things a little different there, where they have to have accreditations or certain levels of floristry. Um,
Yeah,
have so much here. We have the AIFD, of course, which is notable of really, really top designers. But I feel like you do a lot better job of introducing them to that at a younger age, I would say.
I think that, I mean, I guess perhaps part of the problem is that your country is so big. Um, Whereas, I was looking size wise, England sort of fits into Florida.
Yeah, it's like in our backyard here. No.
And then there's all the rest of it. So for us, it is perhaps easier because we're in this condensed, we're in this small
It
space and we
doesn't
can
feel like
work
that if
together.
you go there, though. It doesn't feel small. It feels
Well, no, 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 it doesn't feel
ginormous.
small, but to get, if you've got, so we've got circa 5,000 bricks and mortar shops, you've got circa 12. And then
Yeah.
we have about another 3,500 people who are working either from home or studios or are quasi. Um, and so we have quite a high density within our small land mass. But we still don't get as much attendance as we used to. I mean, I used to run an event called Spring Florist Event, and our last year was 2008, and we had 5,000 people attend that.
Wow.
So, you look 10, 15 years down the line, and
Mhm.
we're talking a fraction of that turning up. But then it is more expensive to go to things,
Yeah.
and I think COVID had an
Mhm.
awful effect that we
Yeah.
became hermity. We got
Yeah,
so used to being, and it's wonderful. Yes, Zoom. Here I can talk to people literally across the world, and I love that. But in real life is so important. It's why I travel so much. It's why you travel so much. Getting
absolutely.
out there.
There's this level of connection we all crave, right? At the end of the day. And it is very sad the younger people, I feel like their culture being like kind of set at home for 2 years during their college experience just kind of made people not go out and explore or make those friendships or just do as much. So I think any way we can create these events, that's why we
Yeah.
host sponsor so many things, because if we see someone hosting something, we want to like be right there and making sure it's successful, because if they don't continue to host, then these events aren't going to happen. And I feel
Okay.
like
If
it's
I can
our
just ask you to put 26th, 27th in your diary, April
okay,
26th, 27th, just a little thing that may be coming up.
okay.
Um, and of course, National Florist Day. I'd love to get you involved in that because I
Of
think you
course, I'm
would
there.
be
I'm there for it.
marvelous. Um, but yes, getting out and about. I mean, we have a standing at, do you not know who I am? There are lots of people who don't know who I am. And the only way I can make that happen is to be out there.
Yeah.
Um, and social media is actually much harder these days because you're competing.
You're
When
here for those clicks and those dollars and who they want to, to
us,
the top of that. So I would much rather give our hard-earned money and the money from subscriptions to events and organizers than Google. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I said it. But we don't really do anything with them and with Google, and which is probably to our, not to us, but I would rather see that those dollars are impacting our local events, because I feel like at the end of the day,
but
florists trust who they also know they have that word of mouth from. So, that's all.
that applies to that applies to local florists as well. I see people posting on Insta and Facebook, and they're great channels. Look, I've
Absolutely.
used both channels extensively. However, a local florist is by definition a local person, and they
Yeah.
should be out in their community as much as they are. You can't just rely on sticking a picture up on Insta and hoping that that is going to change your fortune. It
Yeah.
can be part of your marketing mix, but it should only be part of. The rest of it should be in real life. If you don't have a storefront, then fine, doesn't matter. Go out and do demonstrations,
Right.
do petal it forward, do lonely bouquets, be a demonstrator, go to your local big employer and say, can I do a mindfulness class for your workers? I won't charge, but I'd like to be able to distribute cards, etc., etc. And that way, if people see you, they have far greater connection. And even just putting pictures, one of my bugbears, I think there was a question somewhere. No, I don't think you did ask me what did I dislike, but I'm going to say it anyway. One of my bugbears is when I look at the website and I see an About Us page and there's no picture.
Oh, yeah. Who are
About
you?
who? Who
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
Who is the us? I
Who's
want
yeah.
to.
Well, and there's something to say about that is because all florists are basically entrepreneurs, right? There's not really any company that handles it all. So at the end of the day, someone's buying from a local florist and they want to know who they're buying from.
Yeah.
I think is you'd much rather buy from an individual than maybe a giant company at the end of the day. So, and I think that that's maybe more common in the UK. It seemed like a lot of smaller shops to me there than like a Walmart or something where you could go and find something. I'm like, where's the Walmart at? And they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So, you know, and you have a TK Maxx, whereas we have a TJ Maxx. So you know,
Oh, I know we have TK Maxx. I am a TK Maxx fan.
yeah. So just as far as like your personal favorites, since you've traveled all over the world, and gone to so many floral events for a number of years now, which one strikes you as your most favorite and the most memorable?
Cruel, cruel question.
I
And
want to know. Tell me where I
actually,
need to go.
no, and I'm going to answer this for very in the same way that, it depends what I am going for. So
Okay.
if I was going for design, then I'm going to say AIFD. I
Okay.
remember going to my very first AIFD convention, oh my gosh, 30 years ago,
Mhm.
and I burst into tears.
Yeah.
I cried as a designer at the sheer awesomeness of what he had created. And I just stood there. There was a standing ovation. That's something very rare in the States, and I could see why this man had created, and AIFD is that sort of. Now I think it's morphed a bit since those early days, but I remember. So from a design perspective, from a business perspective, probably SAF, because that was very honed into graphs, and um, that was marketing and making money, and it was, that's not to diss the design, but it was a business marketing thing. Growers, obviously, I would actually put both Proflora and the Dutch shows even
Yeah.
Stevens, because we're talking completely different product ranges.
Yeah.
So I can't actually say what my favorite is, not because I'm being a coward, but because every show is different. And that's why I go to all of them, because for me particularly, as a communicator who has to understand the sector, I have to see all of it. Um, and each show has a different feel and fulfills a different need. There's very few shows that can do it all.
Well, I'll pass that along to the organizers of the SAF conference that you enjoyed it. And I think it does have a little bit of everything. They always try to tie it in to make it incredibly useful and well spent time away from your
Yeah,
business.
because I mean,
So
it's not cheap. It was, excluding my flight, which, it's not cheap. By the time you buy into any of these things, they're
not
not
cheap
cheap.
on the body either. I gotta start doing those leg down flights. I gotta get the deal on that. I need Lottie's flyer miles. Are there any particular floral traditions or celebrations that you've seen around the world that are especially meaningful that maybe we all should take part in more of?
I think we should. I mean, I love Petal It Forward. I love that whole
Yeah.
concept. I think giving away. I think you've got to be a bit careful about giving away too many flowers because
Yeah.
you got to get an ROI on it.
Right.
Um, but I think that people we scratch the surface in terms of flower sales. Even
Mm.
even at whatever it is, 62 billion or something worldwide. So we are running at nearly we're 2 billion on flower sales in the UK.
Okay.
Um, that is tiny. That is a
Mm.
tiny fraction of what we could sell.
Yeah.
Um, and it is all about educating customers to realize the power of flowers. And that's why taking part in Petal It Forward or National Florist Day or that flower feeling, because they're all very different. None of them are the same, and that's what makes it so exciting, that you've suddenly got all these opportunities to wave your flag. Um, even even if it's just giving one gerbera or gerbera um, to a person, beautifully wrapped. So just a single gerb with pretty and make it craft paper, because that sustainability message is important. um, you do what you can when you can, especially for younger buyers, because Gen Z and millennials are particularly keen on it. And there's a report on Florist magazine that actually says they will pay up to 50% more. That's phenomenal. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. But so all these events, and so getting the product into the hands of the consumer, but doing it in a way that is quite considered and that you then use for marketing and promotion, and you make a big thing of it. So you plan all of this. You don't suddenly think, oh, well, hey, it's Tuesday, I'm going to go and give a load of gerber away. You have to plan it. But I think people should do it more. And the
Well,
unit cost is relatively low.
and I think it's so great that florists take part in these initiatives because so many marketing dollars have created all these wonderful assets and graphics and just different things you can utilize and
Yeah.
taglines. The whole industry's basically come together to have this these items for you to share and at your leisure and as much
Yeah.
as you
I mean,
want. So, you
there
know,
is so much out there, so much out there. And some part of me sort of thinks, so should we all just join up and work together? But actually, I think it's quite good that we have separate things, because that way people can tailor and pick and choose what works for them, because one size does not fit all. We had some people who loathed our National Florist Day graphics, but that's why we well, because they didn't like the style. But that's why we gave them naked assets, that they could naked, they could stick them on their own pictures if they
right.
didn't like us.
You have all kinds of different words that we could go into it for hours. Well, we have reached our rapid fire questions for this
Oh
segment.
no.
Are you ready for some surprise questions that we didn't tell you about?
You gave me all this. These are the questions you gave me. There's nothing about
Okay,
rapid fire. All right, go for it, girl.
there you go.
I might not be
We'll put
very
you on,
good at it.
we're going to put you on the spot now. What is your favorite word in another language?
Oh, I should probably be erudite and come out with something like a Latin or something. Amore, love, makes the
Love.
world go round.
Yes, I love it. What is your favorite drink of choice?
Well,
Tea?
would be my
Pinky up
first
or pinky
preference.
down? No.
Oh no, pinky down, never pinky up.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
oh no, no, no,
Gotta
no,
tell Greg. No.
no, 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 no. Sort of non-alcoholic tea, yes. Alcoholic, I have this rather bizarre fetish for Bailey's and Malibu mixed over the rocks. And it
Very nice.
sounds ghastly, but oh my gosh, it pulls a punch and slips down a treat.
How many are you having when we wrap this call up?
Oh, probably I might leap down and say, "Hi, dogs. Done it. Now need a drink. Mommy needs a drink." You know.
What is your favorite flower?
Unicorn gypsophila. No, edit that.
No, no, no,
I
no.
do, it's easier to say what my least favorite flower is.
Okay.
I don't like tropicals.
Oh,
Sorry,
really?
no.
Gosh.
I can just about handle an anthurium.
Mm.
I like hanging heliconia because they are awesome architecturally. You know, I think they look amazing, but I wouldn't have it in my house. But then I live in a sort of Victorian all original features. So well, it's Edwardian actually, Edwardian all original features. So it would look a bit odd. Um, yeah, I do like and seasonal. You know, in January, February, March, I'm spring flowers. Give me bucketfuls of daffodils. Love
Oh,
them.
I love a
You know,
daffodil.
so
Yes.
it is. I love them all.
Okay. I kind of feel the same. But I do love a Phalaenopsis orchid plant, like I can really dig with a big cluster of those, just
Yeah, but you see, they've become a bit naff. I mean, everybody's got
they
phalaenopsis.
last forever. They do last forever. So, but there's like cut
Yes.
flowers. No, probably a David Austin garden rose. Yeah, those
Yeah,
are.
no, beautiful. And but my flower of commercial choice, I am having a real thing about cut Cal and Chloe. Now,
Those are good.
Calantio,
Oh,
Cal
okay.
and Chloe, however you want to say it, cut Calanchi. How do
Okay.
you say it? How do you say it?
Atlanta? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
So,
yes, but mine is mainly a garden flower. Like,
no,
you
you
see,
see, now we get cut Helen Chloe. Clementine. It's like clematis. Do you say clematis?
oh,
Clematis?
yeah,
Clematis?
clematis, but maybe I could be wrong, I'm
Don't know,
afraid.
but I do like those. I think they add. Oh my gosh, they just add to a design so beautifully.
So good.
Um, but cut Claire and Co because it lasts forever.
I'm gonna have you write that down. Summer, spring, winter, or fall, what's your favorite season?
I'm a summer baby. I
Okay.
was born in August. I love the sun.
Are you a
Yeah,
morning person or an evening person?
depends how good the gig is. If I mean, I naturally wake up between 5 and 6 every morning. That's the market girl in me, but because I used to go to wholesale market. Um, but I can party quite late, given half a chance. So,
I think my
and
team had a time or two.
sometimes I'll go the whole night.
Are you more of a thinker or a doer?
Both. I think about it and then I get on and do it.
A place that you would like to travel to
I
that you
still
haven't
want. Sorry.
been before.
I want to do the Far East. I'd like to go, and it's unlikely to happen because of the political situation. I'd love to go to the Shui Gong Temple in Burma, that was, or Myanmar now. My grandfather was based there. My father travelled there and had his picture taken. So I have a picture of my grandfather in front of the Shui Gong Temple, and my dad. I'd like to go there, but it's unlikely. But I'd like to go to China. I mean, I haven't done the Far East, so that would be my next place.
Yeah, you got to go with Karen Barnes. She goes like all the time.
I know,
Yeah,
but which is what my husband's schlepping a bit. I mean, that sort of trip I would do with my husband. I mean, it would. I couldn't do that on my own. I do have a husband.
yeah,
Sort of
no,
take him out. He took me to Russia for our 25th anniversary.
that's
And yeah, 2019. Not many people
beautiful.
going back there soon.
No, no. What's for dinner tonight?
Um, probably fish pie because I did batch cooking today.
Fish pie
Homemade.
is not a very American thing at all. No,
I know it's
two things
homemade
don't go
with.
together.
Oh no, it's my fish pie is it's one of only three dishes that I make.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a cook, but,
Okay.
my fish
It's
pies are
probably
good.
because 'cause you're making fish pie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's it's what it's the one thing I make. Well, it's one of the things I make, so that's
Mm.
what I'll have because there's a lot of it.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Um, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh. I have never done karaoke.
Sounds like something we need to make happen.
I have never ever done karaoke. It was on a certain list, one of those do it before your ex, and it didn't quite happen. So maybe I'll have to put it on the next do it before your ex, because I'm not going to tell people how geriatric I am. But no, I've never done karaoke, so I don't know what I'd sing. I probably have to say Sweet Caroline or something, but no, I've never done karaoke.
Some kind of Adele or something, I don't know. Very
Mm, I think
classic
I'm a bit
British.
old for Adele.
No, I don't know.
And
Um,
anyway, her songs are so miserable.
they are so sad, but I don't even know. Um,
No.
yeah, I won't.
Well, maybe we should get our viewers nominate a song for Carrie to do. Oh, that could be dangerous.
At our next convention. Do you
Yeah,
have a hidden talent, and if so, what is it?
fish pie.
I believe it. Okay, you can demonstrate us this for us if you'd like. What is your favorite dance
The sideways shuffle because I don't dance like I used to, mainly because of dodgy knees from dancing too much. It was quite hilarious. I fell over in Liverpool. I went to Liverpool the other day, and I fell over a pavement and I tore my meniscus. Well, the last time I tore my meniscus was 12 years ago from dancing.
She's like,
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm a head candy girl. I Yes, you are a major mover on the dance floor, so I could possibly compete. No, I'll leave that to you. But
uh,
I I sway a lot these days.
oh yeah, you're like swaying to one side.
And I'll use my hands more than my knees.
Hey, well, what I have to say about the BFA is they know how to cut a rug on the dance floor, and they do all the popular American songs from years gone by. So I loved that. But then there was a lot of songs I didn't know. Um, all right, last question. If you could have a superpower, what would that superpower be, and what would you use it for?
Oh, having the power to say no would be quite a good one, but that's not really a superpower. What superpowers are there? So you can have flying.
Flying, maybe JP last month said he would hate to have laser eyes to like point at someone then they explode or something, you know.
Oh no, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, flying. Maybe reading people's minds would be a superpower, or talking with
Oh,
animals. Um what is speaking in another language is kind of a superpower in my opinion. Mm.
that would be so I got the only language I was any good at was Latin,
Oh,
um,
I took
which is
two.
why I thought I'd become a nun. Um, but I didn't. Um, I think I'd like to fly because then I could be in millions and zillions of places very rapidly, or
Yeah.
being able to clone oneself. Is cloning a superpower?
I
Oh
think,
my gosh.
or maybe if you had I don't know, invisible power too, that would be fun. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'd like to. I wish that I had the ability to have more hours in the day and work faster because there
Copy
is
paste. Yeah,
so
you
much.
want to be able to copy paste yourself.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
clone. So I want another me that I can say, right, it's your turn today. You've got that, and that to do. Get on with it, and we'll
Well,
catch up. We'll get through our to-do list once and for all.
I love
Is there?
it.
Are there any others? You're not going to ask me my
I,
favorite sandwich or something?
oh no, I know. I just wanted to get to know you, and I just wanted our members to get to know you. It's been a complete
Oh, Laura.
spending the last hour with you, Carrie. I I know so much more about you, and I am looking forward to Good Florist Day this coming year in June.
Thank
You can make
you.
it my birthday, I'm in June. I'm a June baby, June 20th. There.
Well, it's either it's I think at the moment it's either the 14th or the 21st.
Darn it.
So,
It's so
well, you
close.
can have a National Florist Day Eve party.
I will. I'm going to. So I'm going to advocate for that day.
Okay. I'll do- I'll I'll I'll
Not that I
send
need to
you
make
an
it all.
email. You
No.
can tell me. Did
Thank you.
anybody have any questions? No, I think, well, anyway, we've talked far too long.
No, we did. We talked about it all, but if they have any questions, where can they reach you at?
Okay, so news site, theflorist.co.uk. Good Florist Guide is goodfloristguide.com, nationalfloristday.com, or Caroline at purplespotted.com, because I
That's
have weird email.
We will include them all in this wrap-up blog, and it was a
Thank
complete
you.
pleasure and joy having you as our
Oh,
December class
it's
guest.
been it's been such fun. This is my last official gig of 2024, and I really couldn't have wished to end on a better high. To be able to talk to you, to share some of my thoughts and feelings with my new American market. Having decided that watch out, America, the Brits are coming. Should I
Oh,
say that?
I know, they're coming. I'm gonna feel like Paul Revere on my horse. Yeah, so
Um, so no, it's been fabulous, and thank you so so much for inviting me.
yeah, you're very welcome, and I look forward to seeing you many, many times this year and, many more. So, whenever that
Absolutely,
will be, we'll pop in and I will always know I have a friend in you, so I thank you.
my house is your house.
Uh, I'm gonna take you
Just,
up on that. I'll be
just
knocking. I'll be like, "Where's the Baileys in the rum?"
yeah. Oh yeah, I can mix those, and I promise you no fish pie.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good
You
night.
take care. Bye.